Hi everybody, I am back with another podcast. This is the Heartmoor podcast and my name is Stacey and I'm coming to you from, why is the beginning so hard? Like, I always struggle with what to say. I'm coming to you from the southwest of England where I live with my husband and my 3 beautiful daughters. And this is a podcast about knitting mostly. Sometimes I might throw in another craft or like crochet or maybe a little bit of sewing, but no, probably not. I'm not very good at sewing. Yeah, and a bit of chatter, and it's nice to see you. It's February, so it's been a while since my last one. Today is what's the date? Today is the 15th of February, so it's half term here in the UK. And we're still in lockdown, but my husband has taken the girls out for a litter pick this morning. They've before Christmas they've started sort of taking up the hobby of litter picking, so they've been out patrolling our local streets with their litter pickers and their sacks from the council, and they've been picking up all the litter. So it's given me a bit of free time to do this today, without children running around or, you know, screaming, because that's what it's like all the time at the moment. What have I got? Oh, where can you find me? So I am on Instagram as Heartmoor, and you can find me on Ravelry as Staceyjlew, and I'll pop that somewhere down here. And I'll try and put it in the description box below as well. I'm gonna try and get a little bit better at doing my description boxes this time. It's really normally just laziness. I'm like, do I really want to fill out all that information below? But I'll try, because I know I find it useful when I'm watching other people's podcasts to have all that information there to refer back to if I missed it. Or sometimes I'm knitting when I'm doing watching other people's podcasts, so I don't always see what comes up on the screen. So I'll try and pop all that stuff below for you, yeah, before I put the podcast out. So what have I got? Yes, I've got a couple of finished objects, and some works in progress, and a few acquisitions. So yeah, shall we get started? So my first FO, if you watched my last podcast, you will have seen I was working on a Colourwork Cowl. And yeah, so my first colourwork project that I've ever done. So I thought I'd start off with something quite simple, and it's finished. So here it is. Oh, you can see the line where I blocked it. There we go. Here it is. Turn it round. Really, really nice cowl. It's come out. I'm really, really pleased with how it's come out. So this is the Zigzag cowl by Knitting Traditions. Her podcast is lovely, but she's on Ravelry as well. She's got a few patterns out, but this is the thing. This is This is a cowl, a nice simple colourwork cowl. I used West Yorkshire Spinner Colour Lab yarn, which is 100% wool. I'll just put it on for you so you can see. It's a nice fit. It comes up really nicely. I talked about in the last podcast about whether or not to felt it. Felting it would make it a bit warmer. It would shrink it slightly, so it wouldn't be down here, and it would be stiffer, so it would stand up. You know, it would stand up because obviously my hair's in it. If I take my hair out, it's much looser, like this gap here. So I'm debating whether or not to felt it, and obviously the colours would merge slightly. So I still haven't decided whether or not to felt it, but I'll show you the inside. I don't know if this is good or not. I've never done colourwork before, but those are my floats. There's a couple I missed, like you can see one there, but I think that's pretty good. So now I'm itching to do another colourwork project, something a bit more complex. Maybe a hat, maybe some mittens. I don't think I'm quite ready for a jumper yet, but yeah, so really pleased with that FO. I can't remember what size needles I used. I always go up half a size or one, so I can see a hair at the corner of my eye. I always go up a needle size. So whatever the pattern called for, I would have gone up slightly because I'm quite a tight knitter. Yeah, so that is FO number 1. FO number 2. So I've never participated in a test knit before, or I had never participated in a test knit before, mainly because I was always aware of the time pressure, and I've always had it. It was before Christmas, so I only really got into sort of the social media world of knitting and podcasts and things sort of in September. So I was quite busy with all my Christmas knitting and stuff like that. So I didn't feel like I had the time. And also quite often it's quite a lot of yarn required, or I didn't have the right yarn, and I don't want to go out and buy something specifically for a test knit. And I also want to make sure that whatever I test knit is something I actually want myself. So when the lovely Shannon from Bluefern Yarns said on her, put out on Instagram, I think, that she was designing a simple basic shawl, just a garter stitch shawl, that she would want test knit, I was like, yes, I don't have a knitted shawl. I really wanted a garter stitch simple shawl. I didn't want one with any lace in. I just wanted something really simple. And the design of her shawl was that it would take 10 minis, 10 20 gram minis, and I had some from my advent. So here it is. Let's see if I can hold it up. So I said yes, and she said, I said I'd like to do the test knit, and she said yes. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this for you. Oh, it's just so pretty. So this is the Simple Fade Shawl by Bluefern Yarns. If I start down here, it was released this week, so she does have the pattern is on Ravelry. So, and the yarns I used are my Beehive Yarns Advent. So I used half of my Beehive Yarns Advent. They're sort of the blues to the purples. I've still got all the greens and browns left to use, but anyway, so here it is. It starts off with like a fade. You can see that's one colour, and then it goes into the next colour, which is not as wide, and then as you get wider and wider, the stripes of colour get narrower, and it goes down to a point down there. So there's a better picture on my Instagram where you can see the whole thing. You try and fold that over, then you might be able to get a picture of it. There it is. The fade is really, really gorgeous. And it is just a simple garter stitch pattern with increases and decreases. So I'll put it on to show you how I wear it. So just wrap that bit round. I've been wearing this one around the house actually quite a lot lately because it's been absolutely freezing. Although we seem to live in the part of the country down here in the bottom of Devon, we haven't had any snow at all. We had, I think last week we might have had maybe 3 flakes. So the poor children have been absolutely devastated because we haven't been able to get out onto Dartmoor, which we live really close to because of lockdown. We're not allowed to travel out of our area, so we haven't been onto the moors. So we haven't been anywhere to see any snow. So I've been watching everyone's lovely pictures of snow and we have had none. But it has still been cold. So I've been wearing this around the house. I've worn it to work a couple of times. And that's just sort of how I would wear it, really. Yeah. So it's really, really pretty. Yeah, and the colours fade beautifully together. So the Beehive Yarns Advent worked perfectly for this. And it's just big enough to wear just around my neck. So it's not too big. It's not like, it's not really you could wear it on your shoulders, I suppose. How far does that come down? Not too far. You could wear it on your shoulders, but I find it sort of more of a neck shawl. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. I did because it was a test knit, I did exactly as the pattern called for. So I stuck to the same needle size, etc, etc. So mine, because I knit quite tightly, this might be slightly smaller than someone who knits sort of loosely, but yeah, I was really pleased with that. So I finished that one and I've been wearing it and it's all blocked and lovely. Next, FO, I only finished last night, so I was quite pleased. I'm like, yay, I can show you. So once I finished the shawl, the opportunity for another test knit came up. So having never done one, I've done 2 this year already. And this is a test knit for Julianne Knitter of Twin Stitches Designs. And I'd been eyeing this one up since she teased it on her Instagram. Because it's a sweater, but it's for children, so it's manageable. And it was quite a long time stick scale to get it finished by. It doesn't have to be finished until I think next week, but I finished it. And yeah, so it's not blocked yet, so it's a bit curled up at the bottom. It looks it looks massive. It's for age it's age 6 to 8, and it does fit my 6-year-old daughter. And obviously she's 6 and this is age 6 to 8, so I expect this to last her for a couple of years. But here's the jumper. It's called the Neapolitan ice cream sweater, or is it just the Neapolitan sweater? I can't remember. I'll put it in the box below. It's the Neapolitan sweater, I think. And the idea is obviously it stripes like a Neapolitan ice cream. I let my daughter pick out the colours, so she's picked this like pinky colour and this purple colour. And the arms are just plain, and I've done different coloured. I've done one of each for the arms to keep the colour in there. And it's a really simple decreasing jumper. There's no decreases once you get down here. So it's just round and round and round. And there it is. So it's coming up a bit at the bottom because it's not been blocked yet, because I only finished it last night. So my plan is to block that, but all the ends are sewn in. Block that today, get some photographs of it. But I was really pleased with that. Again, there was a gauge swatch in this one, so I went up a needle size, like I usually do. So I knitted this on 4.5 mil. No, 5 mil. So the ribbing's in 4.5, and the main body is in 5 mil needles. The arms I knitted on DPNs because I tried magic loop. I really tried. I thought I'll do the magic loop. I thought for an arm that'd be so much easier, and I couldn't do it. I really don't enjoy magic loop. So I used my 5 mil DPNs on the arms to do that, and it's got a nice stretchy bind off. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with that, and she can't wait to wear it. The yarn I used is, hang on 2 seconds, I'm just going to bend out of screen because I have some left in the pink. So it's Drops Alaska, and it's a wool. It's 100% wool. What colour is this? Oh, this is just colour 60. So yeah, I used this colour and this colour, and I've used up all of the cream. So this one's colour 60, this one's colour 40, and the cream is colour 2. So that's that one. Yeah, another finished project. I'd quite like a version for myself. I like that. But yes, I'm going to block that later. My daughter will love that. So that's my 3 finished objects. I think that's quite productive actually for, what's it been, 4 weeks? 4.5, maybe 5 weeks since I podcasted. So I'm quite pleased with that for this year. And I've been keeping my journal up to date. So I just need to write in it for finishing that project tonight. But now I've finished that project, I'll be able to start another one. But first, let's look at works in progress. So I in my little bag I made myself, cute little owls and a little spotty lining. I have a pair of socks. So these are just vanilla socks. I haven't started my February Rainbow Chronicle ones yet because I need to get these finished. But I didn't want to work on these until I'd finished my test knits. So my job for this week is to finish these and then I can start my February socks and hopefully get those done by the end of February. So this is the yarn. Absolutely gorgeous. I tried to cake it first one I've ever caked on my friend Cherie gave me a yarn winder. It all went a bit sort of loose at the top. So anyway, there's my cake. And this is Snuggly Star Yarns, and this is called Tropical Rainbow. And it's a 75/25 fingering weight yarn. And I have, where are we? I have one finished sock. I should have put this on a blocker, shouldn't I? I've got hair on it, sorry. I have one finished sock. It's just a vanilla sock. It's a 2x2 rib. And yeah, I just did a slip stitch heel and I don't even know what this toe's called, a toe. Yeah, so there's the sock. It's funny really because it looks much more rainbow here, but the actual sock comes out a lot more green and yellow. Oh, the green and yellow is really sort of shines. It's almost neon-y. So this doesn't quite look like this. I still like it. It's not quite what I expected. So I've got a finished sock. And then I am on this one. Let me just, this TPN Cozy was from my Suzanne at Green Lambkin Yarns, my Christmas yarn package. That was in there, this DPN Cozy. I really have no qualms about using Christmas things all year round. I don't have that many DPN Cozies or bags, so I'll use what I've got all year. And on the second sock, I'm just turned the heel and I'm just on the gusset decreases. So in my little, where is it? Oh, it's a little pumpkin. I think that one came from Bluefern Yarns actually. Yeah, so I've done that. So I hope to get this finished this week. These are on 2.5 mil DPNs, which is what I do all my socks on. And yeah, there's not much else I can say about that. I don't count rows or anything. I just stop when I feel like it. So I don't know how long it is. And in terms of this, I just try it on. I haven't got a recipe for length yet. So I just try it on. But yeah, I'm quite happy with those. So I need to get those finished so I can start my February socks and get those finished in time for the Rainbow Chronicles for this month. And I will talk more about Rainbow Chronicles in a minute. My next FO, which now that I've finished the jumper I can work on as well, I fancied a jumper for myself. So I have decided to make the Lovenote by Tin Can Knits. I'm trying to see if I can show you a picture of what it looks like without showing you the pattern. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I'm sure most of you have already seen this, but there it is. Beautiful, beautiful sweater with a really pretty sort of lace pattern around there. And the yarn I'm using, I bought for another project, which I decided not to do. So I'm using Drops Puna, and this is a 100% alpaca yarn. It's really, really soft, and I love this colour, this like tan, neutrally beigey colour. Sorry, there's something out the window. Don't know what that is. I haven't got very far, and I've already made a couple of mistakes, but I'm not one for ripping back because I'm rubbish at ripping back. So the mistake will just, I can't see the mistake yet, but I think when I finish the lace, I might see a slight problem in the lace. But anyway, so started with a provisional cast on. This is the first provisional cast on I've done because you might remember from a previous podcast I was knitting a cowl that required a provisional cast on and I couldn't do it, so I didn't. But I did for this because I have to attach the ribbing to this, the ribbing for the top part. Yeah, that's later. So I've done this. I've started the top bit and I've started the lacy section. I've done the first repeat. It does 2 repeats for the size that I'm doing. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it really very well at all. Not really. It's not coming out very well at all. But anyway, so I've done that much, which isn't a lot, but it's going to knit up really, really quickly. I'm knitting this on, oh, don't lose any stitches. I won't be able to cope if I lose a stitch. I'm knitting these on 6mm circulars. And yeah, so once the kids aren't in the house, because it requires a little bit of concentration, I will start on the next repeat, and then it's just the body, I think, splitting for the sleeves and the body, and it should knit up quite quickly. I don't know what weight this is. Where does it tell you what weight it is? I don't know if it does. I don't know what weight it is. I think it's like a worsted weight. But anyway, so yeah, I'm doing that. And this is in my self-dyed bag of the dead. That's what I like to call it. It was a bag from Hobbycraft that I dyed, that I tried to dye, and it just looked like someone's been murdered, basically, and blood has splattered all over it. So this is my bag of the dead, and it's just in there. So yeah, I'm excited to work on that and get that finished, because I think that'll be a really nice spring sweater, because it's quite a loose fabric when it's knitted up, because it's in such a large needle. It'll be really nice over dresses and blouses, and I can wear that to work, or I can wear that from home. So excited to get that one done. And that's the only 2 whips I've got at the moment that I'm active on. I've got others that are just sat down waiting, but I haven't touched them, so there's not much point me showing them to you. I will show you those hopefully another time when I've done a bit more work on them. So I'll talk about goodies that have come in the post and acquisitions before I talk about future projects. So what have I had in the post? So Rainbow Chronicles. There's going to be some rustling, sorry. So the Rainbow Chronicles are being hosted by, or being run by, Lay Family Yarns and Kelly from Lay Family Yarns and Jules from So Sweet Violet. And the idea is to knit a rainbow of socks throughout the year. So I'm sure if you go onto Ravelry or Instagram and search for the Rainbow Chronicles or Rainbow Sock Chronicles, you can find out all about it. And Kelly from Lay Family Yarns has been producing some yarn packs for this. So I'd already done my January socks, which was, the colour was pink, and I showed those in my last podcast. So for February, the colour is like dark pinks into reds. So this is the colour pack for February. Now I'm using half for a sock, for my socks, and the other half I'm putting away, and I hope to make a rainbow litmus cowl. But I think I'm going to make that later in the year, because I don't really want a big long cowl in the summer or spring. So I might have changed my mind by the time it comes, but I'll still have a rainbow of minis that I can use for a project at the end of the year. Anyway, so this is what I'll be picking my February colours from. Really lovely. And Kelly releases them, put them on the floor, like a month in advance. So that's February's. So March's is peaches and sort of light pink. So these are March's colourways, which are really, really beautiful. I like those a lot. So I've got to decide what's going to go into my sock. And then April's was released this month. So I bought April's, and April is yellow. And there's all the luscious yellows that will be going into my April socks. So I have enough yarn for my Rainbow Chronicles right up to April. And then next month she'll be releasing May's, which I think might be green. I can't remember. Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got a, is it green? I've got a pin badge from So Sweet Violet. Release this pin badge. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. It says the Rainbow Sock Chronicles in the middle, and here's the rainbows. So we've done pink, red, peach. No, it's not quite the right order because there's 12 on there, and there's only 8. There's only 8 colours that they've set, and then you make up the other 4 colours how you think they're going to fit into your rainbow. I think it's green next. Maybe it's orange. I don't know. It's pointless speculating, isn't it? Because I actually don't know. Okay, other acquisitions. So in the last podcast, I talked a bit more about being intentional with my knitting, intentional with my yarn buying. I don't have a large stash. I've probably only got a dozen or so full-size 100-gram skeins of hand-dyed yarn, which is fine. I don't need, you know, I don't need a huge stash. Apparently my children told me I've got so much yarn, it's unbelievable. And I've been showing them other people's stashes to say, no, no, mummy doesn't have a lot. I really don't. Please buy me more. We'll see if they take the hint. So I'm buying for projects. So the yarn for the Neapolitan sweater, I bought specifically for that, and I bought what I needed, and I do have a little bit left, but I bought what I needed because that was a commercial yarn. But I also want to try some new yarn bases this year. So most of everything that I've had in the past has been the 75-25, the occasional 100% merino, but that's it really. I've not tried anything else. So Hedgerow Yarns had an update last month, and in it were a couple of yarn bases that I really wanted to try and I really like the look of. I'm trying to also go a bit more solid colour with the yarn I'm buying, because I think I've got lots of speckly stuff, but sometimes I want something plain, and I can add the speckle in with, I can add the colour in with something else. Anyway, so I bought this, so Hedgerow Yarns, and this is just Surrey Silk Cloud, so it's 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. This isn't undyed, so it's always good to have some undyed stuff, because it makes the colour of what you're mixing it with stand out more than if I used a coloured one. So I've got that for my stash, which is, I think, is a very considered buy. Then I saw these yak sock yarns, and I loved the colours. I think it's undyed. I think the yak is undyed. So here it is. Oh, it's beautiful, like a grey. And then there were 2 minis with it as well, which will go really nice. I'm thinking the minis would look nice opposite socks. So one sock I would do a contrasting heel and, you know, cuff and toe in one colour and the heel in another, and then on the sock I'd opposite that. That makes sense to me. But this is 70% superwash merino, 20% yak and 10% nylon. And these are no yak, these are just a normal an 80-20. These are an 80-20, and this has got 20% of yak in it as well. And it feels really soft, so I'm quite excited to make those into a pair of socks for myself. Is grey in the rainbow? Maybe not. Maybe can't use that for my Rainbow Chronicles, but it feels lovely and it looks really nice. So I've got that to try, and it's for a specific project, so I feel justified in that. Justified to myself anyway. And then, this colour just called to me. And then when I saw the yarn base, I was like, I have to. I wish I'd bought 2. She had 2, and I wish I'd bought 2. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for another one if she does another lot in the future. But anyway, it's Hedgerow Yarns again. And look at this absolutely luscious peachy colour. This is called Vintage Peach. You can see why. It's just beautiful. And this is a cash merino sock. So it's 80% superwash extra fine merino, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon. I don't want to make socks with this. It would make nice socks, but I don't want to make socks with it. It's just too nice. I've just bought a new hat pattern by Knitting Tradition. She's just released a new hat pattern that I really like the look of, and I think this held double with maybe the alpaca silk, I don't know, but this would look really, really nice as a hat, but I don't know if it would suit me. It would also look really nice as a cowl. It would look nice as lots of things. If I keep leaning forward, I hope I'm not too close. I'm sure you don't want to see. I even put lipstick on today because I look dead without lipstick. So when I'm in the house, I'm not wearing any makeup at all. But I am going to work a couple of days a week. So I do put lipstick on just because my lips are so... as you get older, you lose the natural pigment in your lips and they go paler and paler and paler. And particularly on a camera, I just look dead. So I put a little bit of lippy on today, and I don't want to get it on the yarn. So I love that. So that's staying in my drawer for now. Oh, and then I went against all of my rules, all of my intentions for this year, and bought a yarn because it was pretty. And I've wanted yarn from this yarn dyer for quite some time, and she sells out really quickly. And I saw this, and it was out of my budget, out of my comfort zone, out of my intentions for this year, but I had to have it, so I bought it. And this is Spectrum Fibre, so you probably know something exciting and colourful is coming if you know anything about Spectrum Fibre. Look at those! Oh, okay. I feel like I should take these out of the packet, actually. Let's take them out, and then you can see them. Excuse the rustling. Rustling interlude. Okay, so here they are. I'm not gonna be able to hold them there. Oh, they're just, oh, look at those colours. So they are as neon as they're coming across. The light from the window is blowing this one out. Let's swap it over. That's a bit better. So we've got this one here, which is yellows and peaches and speckles of green and stuff. And this one is called Neon Peaches. These are all twisted sock 80/20s. Are they all 80/20s? Yeah, twisted sock 80/20s. So there's this gorgeous Neon Peaches colourway. So there's the label, Spectrum Fibre. Neon Peaches. It came as a set. I bought it as a triple set because they all go together lovely. Then there's this one which is called Tutti Frutti. Oh, can you see how that, look at the neon on that. Blue, yellow, pink, green, orange, every colour under the sun. On like a lovely cream base. Trying to show that without the sun shining on it. Look at that. And then this one here is called Bryony's Nails. Sorry, someone out the window again. I'm not normally, I'm in my living room today on the couch. I think this is quite a good spot with quite good light. This might become my regular podcasting spot. Anyway, this is Bryony's Nails, and it's just a luminous pink. And you see that if I block the sun out, there we go. Really good interpretation of that colour. So yeah, I have these three. They have to be used together, obviously. I would have loved to have made a neon hat, like a colourwork hat, so with the pink base and these two, or maybe just, and these two somewhere in there like a colourwork hat, but I think there's too much yarn here for a hat. And I think if I had another one of Bryony's Nails, it would make an amazing colourwork sweater or top. I don't really want a cowl. I really want a hat, but it's winter, so I'm not going to rush into it. I'm going to keep them in my stash. Oh, look, the colours are good over there. Let's move them to this side. I'm going to... No, they're no good over there. I'm going to keep them in my stash and await the right project for these. But if anyone has any ideas that... I think if I'd had two of these, that would have been enough to do like a jumper, and this would have been enough for colourwork. So I might have to keep my eye out for another Bryony's Nails. But if anyone has any projects in mind, I could do a shawl, but I don't think I'd wear it. I don't think I would wear a neon shawl. I would wear a hat or a cowl, but I don't think I would wear a shawl. I much prefer my shawls to be neutral. And as beautiful as that would look, I'd wear a neon jumper or a cardigan, but I just don't think I'd wear a shawl. So, yeah. Let me know if you can think of anything. But otherwise, I think I'll just be keeping my eye out for the right pattern and another skein of this to give me some more options. So, that's my yarn acquisition. I have bought something else. Now, I'm thinking I might do a giveaway on my next podcast. So there will probably be a skein of yarn, which I haven't decided what will be yet. I'll have a hunt around and find a skein of yarn. But I also I've ordered one for me and one for a giveaway, and these bags and yarn stuff. And it's just a simple drawstring bag, really simple, with yarn stuff on it. And I really like these. It's by My Bag of Stuff, and I ordered, you might have seen in my January, I had a Christmas one. I've got like a big grey with pink flock on it that says knitting stuff. And basically you can, she does just, everything's got stuff and you just put what you want on top. So I've got 2 of those, one for me and one for a giveaway. And then I will probably add a skein of yarn in. So next podcast, I think I will do a giveaway. And yeah, I thought that would be quite nice. And they're only £5 each. They're really, really good value if you just want a basic sock bag. This little drawstring bag, and you can put anything on it. It doesn't have to have yarn. You could have baking, the name of your child, sock stuff, picnic stuff, whatever. But it's really good value for money. And she's a one man, one girl band. She works, it's a small business, and she does all this from her dining room. So good to support someone, a local independent small female business. So that's that. And that is everything I have to show you at the moment. Oh, so yeah, everything I have to show you. So talking about future knitting plans, let me just get my iPad, because on my iPad is my Ravelry queue and my Ravelry library, with all the things that I want to make on it. So I have recently seen the Andrea Mowry striped sweater. I've just purchased the pattern for that, and I've ordered the yarn off of I've ordered the yarn from Wool Warehouse last week, so hopefully that will come next week. And I really wanted to try some Let Lopey, so I've got 3 different colours, 3 some blues from Let Lopey coming. So I'm going to make the Andrea Mowry striped sweater once I finish my Lovenote. So that's in the plans. I really want to make the see, I need my iPad. Excuse me while I go Ravelry diving. Let me look it up. What's it called? It is called Ravelry. Oh, it's a Stephen West pattern. Oh, it's going to ask me to sign in. You don't want to see me doing this. This is really rude of me, isn't it? To be on here at the same time. So where we are, blah, blah, blah. How do I find all this stuff? Oh, library. So striped sweater, yes, by Andrea Mowry. Oh, the Slouchy Beanie is what the hat pattern is that I want to make with the cashmere yarn by Knitting Traditions. I've just also bought Kate's Poncho, and that is by Nice and Knit. Sandy by the Lakeside has just finished one, and I'm not normally a poncho fan, but this one has a really tight fit to it. It's quite low. It comes well below the bust, almost down to the waist, and it's quite snug, and I don't want a loose poncho, and this one looks gorgeous. So I bought that pattern ready to make with something. And where is the one I was actually looking for? Vertices Unite, that's the name of it. So I really want to make the Vertices Unite by Stephen West as well. But that's going to involve some yarn purchases, so that one's going to need to wait a little while. I'm thinking I might make that sort of summer ready for autumn, because I don't think I'd wear it in the summer. But yeah, so I really want to knit all the winter stuff because it's cold, but I know winter will be coming to an end soon. And so I really need to start thinking about what I want for spring, and moving on into summer. So as much as I really want to make hats, I will make the beanie because I think it could still be cold right through till May. But I don't want to make too many wintry things. So I need to think about what's going to be practical for spring and summer. And yeah, have a look at Ravelry really. If anyone's got any really nice lightweight sort of cardigans or jumpers or smaller items. So, you know, in winter you'd make hats, scarves and cowls. What do you make in summer that's that sort of size? I might wear like a lightweight shawl, but I wouldn't really wear shawls very much. So what do you do with like one skein or half skein projects in the summer, apart from socks? So yeah, any ideas, let me know. Let me know what's on your Ravelry queue, or what you've already made last summer, because last summer I wasn't really knitting a lot. So I mean, I've got blankets, but blankets and socks, I don't know. Okay, so a little bit of chatter. What's been going on in lockdown world? Nothing, absolutely nothing. We are walking around the block. We're not using the car. So my husband's been going out litter picking with the girls. I've been taking them out for a few walks around the block on a nice day, but we've had some horrific weather recently. We haven't been out for like 3 days because it's just been raining. But today's nice and sunny. Let me turn you around so you can have a look at the sun out the window. Can you see? Of course you can't see because the sun's coming in and it's too bright, but yeah, that was pointless, wasn't it? You can't see anything. It is lovely and bright. You can probably see there is light baked in. Yesterday I had to have the light on all day. It was so dark. But really we haven't done anything. My kids, both me and my husband, are key workers. So I've been going into work a couple of days every week, and he's been going in. He's worked all throughout. He does shift work. So the children are in educare a few days a week, which is great for them. I'm very lucky that that support from the school is available, because it's been so beneficial for my children to be in school. When they're home, we're doing home learning, but obviously I still have to work from home at the same time. So it's been harder. And my children are quite, you know, they're 6 and 7. I've got a 13-year-old and she's fine. She gets on with it. But the 6 and the 7-year-old need a lot more support, and their work is quite interactive. Like baking and making and stuff like that is a large part of what they're having to do. So that's been a bit trickier. Yeah, but other than that, we haven't really done anything at all. It's half term now, and we've got some crafting activities planned. So we're going to do some baking, and I've got my sourdough starter out the fridge. So I'm going to make a sourdough this week. It was Valentine's yesterday, but my husband was working, so we're not really big Valentine's people. My granddad died 20 years ago on Valentine's Day, so it's never really been a day that I've been bothered about for the last 20 years. So we didn't really do much for that, and we have nothing planned because we've got a lockdown here till the 8th of March. So next week on Monday, on the 22nd of February, the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is going to be making an announcement about what might happen going forward. So hopefully we might be able to go out for some walks with the family again, go a bit further afield, sit outside and have a drink or a meal in a pub or restaurant. So that would be really nice, something to look forward to. But we don't want it to be, I don't want anything to be rushed. I want, you know, it needs to be the right time. And as much as I would like to get out and about, we also want this gone so we can have a really lovely summer. My dad had his vaccination yesterday, so that's a good start. My mum isn't due hers yet. She's under 65, so she's in the next group of people to have her vaccination. So hopefully they'll both be vaccinated in the next month or two. And my husband's parents have had their vaccination yesterday as well, so that's all looking positive. What else can I talk about that isn't COVID related? I was going to show you a book, wasn't I, and talk about a book that I bought my children. 2 seconds and I'll go and get it. Hi, I'm back. I just ran upstairs to find this book. So 3 years ago, Father Christmas bought my 3 girls this beautiful, beautiful book. And it is called I Am the Seed That Grew the Tree. And it's a nature poem for every day of the year. And it's poems from everywhere, so yeah, it's not sort of written by one individual. And it's a National Trust publication. And it's just so beautiful. So inside, basically, there is, let me open it. We've had this for 3 years now. So it's all divided into months. And basically, so this is like the 1st of January. There's a poem for the 1st of January and the 2nd and the 3rd. Third's down there, and 4th, and so on. And there's a different poem, all sort of nature related, for every day of the year. And the illustrations in it are absolutely stunning. Let me find where we are now. Where are we now? So we're in February, and this is the illustration for these couple of days. Look at that gorgeous owl. Isn't that beautiful? And there's a couple of poems there. And obviously, reading poems to sort of like a 6 and 7 year old, they understand like what a nursery rhyme is, but they don't really understand poetry. And some of the poetry in here, that, you know, there's like Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, it's stuff that isn't straightforward to understand. So I've broken it down and into sort of, so the first year, we read the poem every day, and every day I asked them to think about how the poem made them feel, a feeling or a thought, you know, something that it gave them. So we'd listen to the poem, and then afterwards we sit down and have a discussion. And did it make you feel happy or sad or excited, or did it make you just feel warm? Or, you know, we talked about feelings. And we did that every day of the year. And then the year before last, so 2020, we did dancing, or expression. So I would read the poem every night, and then they would go, I'd read it once together while they had to think about it. And then I would read it again, and they would perform a little dance for me, an interpretive dance based on how the poem made them feel or think or what they thought. And that was really lovely. And so this year we're reading it again, and it's surprising because you don't remember the poems, you know, it's a whole year. They don't remember the poems. It's like it's fresh every year. And this year we're looking at specific words in the poem. So I've asked them to think about a word in the poem that they liked the best, and why. Did it produce a certain imagery? Do you just like the word? And they're getting really good at it. So, you know, they're like, oh, I like the word crunch because it gives me an image of a man crunching through the snow. And, you know, and I think it's really helping with their understanding of poetry and how it's different from stories, and how it's really all about interpretation. So yeah, so we're doing that this year, and then I'll have to think of something a new idea for next year. But it's a really lovely book, and so that's sort of our nighttime reading. We do that. We've got another one that we're reading as well this year, but maybe I'll show that another time. But if you're interested and you've got children or grandchildren, or even for yourself, it's just so beautiful. I would happily read this myself every single. I do. I read it to my children every night. But if I hadn't had children, I would have happily bought this and read a poem to myself every single day. I know. I can't remember who I saw on Instagram doing it. Someone else had this book, and they read it I think they read it every morning, just to set the day up. So yeah, so that's something lovely that I thought I would share. And I think that's it. So there's no point me babbling on about what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, mostly. We've got lots of plans for later in the year. My husband's every year he takes the children away camping with a friend of ours. I don't go. Me and my friend, the mum from the other family, we do something ourselves, and they've just booked camping for August. Fingers crossed they can go. They go for 3 nights, so it's 3 nights at home I have without the children. I've been doing it for 8 years. It is bliss. And they went this year. They were able to go last year in 2020. The restrictions lifted enough so they could go. So fingers crossed they'll be able to go this year. And I think they're going in Cornwall. I think it's going to be really busy because I think everyone from all around the world, or not around the world, all around the country is going to be heading to Cornwall for camping. But they're all booked in. So they're going. As long as restrictions allow, they're going. And I will have time to myself, which I need. Yeah, so I will say goodbye. It's been nice chatting. I will try not to leave it so long last time. I mean, I did do a little video in between showing my sort of handmade blanket stash. So if you're interested, go and have a look. It'd be lovely if you liked this video. If you could tick the little like thing, and subscribe would be lovely. Thank you. It's always good to share what you're doing. I was going to actually share a couple of other podcasts I've been listening to. I've seen a few lately where everyone's been sharing, and it is a really lovely idea. I'm not going to be able to remember people's names now because I haven't written it down. So let's think. Who have I watched recently? So I've been watching the lovely Karen from Stitches and Jacks. She has a really lovely podcast, some great... we sort of think quite similarly for our intentions for this year, and she started a new Whitmore jumper, which looks fabulous, and that's on my list for this year. So she's a really lovely podcast to watch. Lindsay from Stitch Create Love. She's been releasing some new patterns. She's been releasing patterns recently, so she's a lovely podcast to watch, and she has some lovely ideas and been working on lots of shawls. Shannon from Bluefern Yarns. I love her podcast. Again, I've tested it for her, and I've got a few of her yarns as well. So she's dipping her hand into pattern writing, and she does a lovely podcast. I watch Knitting Traditions quite a lot. I've mentioned her Zigzag cowl and the hat that I'm going to be making. She lives in, I want to say Norway, somewhere around there. And she does she has a lovely podcast, very calming. Who else have I watched recently? I can't remember. I'll make a list, and next time I will next time I'll share a few more. If there's any podcasts you know of that I haven't seen, or might not have seen, you have no idea what I've seen or haven't seen, have you? Because I haven't listed every podcast. Mention some below and I will go and check them out, and that would be great. So I will say goodbye this time. We're nearly on an hour. It's been lovely having a chat, and I'll be back soon. Take care and stay safe. Bye.